Hey you guys! I am just getting ready here. Actually, I'm eating ice cream, to be honest. It's been one of those days, guys. Mama may only get what's left in here, but at least I get something, right? It's all good. So tonight we are making garlic butter steak bites. Super easy. Shouldn't take too long. Just gonna finish my ice cream while I wait for all of you guys to jump on. I only have like 3 more bites. So we're gonna be cooking tonight, and then also this is a really fast meal. But then we got an email from one of you guys. So we have a topic for tonight, which is great. I love that. If you guys ever want me to discuss something in particular on these cooking classes, let me know, and I will do that. If you have any questions or anything I can ever answer, you can email me. I'll put my email down below. And I'll answer your questions. Hey, Alexis. Hey, Julie. Anyway, so tonight's topic that we're going to talk about is fast and easy meals for the struggling mama. Ice cream. Ice cream is a really good idea. And I made them with these delicious brownies. Because who doesn't want brownies and ice cream for dinner? Hey, now I'm not teasing them. If they were here, I'd give them a bite. All right, on with it. Hey, Jackie. Okay, hang on. Someone got a German Shepherd puppy. Julie. So it's like having a toddler in my house again. Yes, I know. We just did that last year. He's almost a year old now. He's huge, and he was a lot of fun in the beginning. Now he's just really, really big, which is fine. Train them while they're little, right? You need another spoon, buddy? Okay, so I have already chopped the steak, you guys. I chopped it ahead of time because this mama is dragging. My family has been on and off sick for like the last week. It's a very, very strange cold. Basically, it comes on really, really fast and leaves really, really fast. Like within a 12-hour period. It's super weird. But anyway, this mama has been up with kids and hasn't had a full night's sleep in a really long time. So that's why I look tired. That's why I might mix up my words tonight, because it's been a rough week. I do have a German Shepherd as well, yeah. He's our farm dog. Okay, so here we go. This is a super easy, super fast recipe, especially when you've already chopped up the steak. So let's get on it. And then we'll talk about our easy meals. I'm going to move you guys this way here. So hang on. All right. There we go. Okay. So to this pan, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over medium heat here. Whoops. And we're going to add some butter to our skillet. It doesn't have to be a cast iron skillet. You could use stainless steel. That's fine too. And to the skillet, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. One tip I do have, and I know I've said this before, many of you guys went back and watched or were live with me for that class. But if you can, the cooking class that was the budgeting video, that's what it was. The more you can do ahead, the better. Like, you guys can see this whole pan of vegetables back here. That's already cooked and ready to go for my family. It's seasoned potatoes and carrots that have been baked. Totally delicious. Okay. That's going to save me some time because the steak is going to cook up in like 5 minutes. So if I could just get my vegetables done, see, then dinner's almost already done already. I'm going to grab a cutting board here. All right. So we're going to just get ourselves some garlic cloves. We need 5 cloves of garlic.
Yeah.
What's going on, buddy? You eating your ice cream? Nope, that's it. Mama ate the rest.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll eat that.
I decided that Mommy needed a little bit of ice cream, Will.
Who's that?
Who's what?
Who's that?
I don't know. We finally got some rain. It rained almost all day yesterday, so that's great news.
That's my movie.
Okay, have fun. So we're just gonna chop up 5 cloves of garlic here. And I say this a lot on my videos because garlic was my very first whole food that I didn't know where it came from. So this is a garlic clove, everybody. On this end, there's like a hard part, and we're just gonna chop that off. And this one's just gonna peel right off. The skin sometimes peels off. It just depends on the garlic clove. But if it doesn't, then you can take your knife and give it a little bop like that, and the skin will just come right off. It'll loosen. So you want to make sure you're not purchasing garlic that's already been minced and that's inside the store in the jars, because that has preservatives in it. That's how they keep it the same color as with those preservatives. So this is cheaper anyway. And for a time in the world where we've got to watch our food budgets, just switch back over to real food. That's what I was going to say. If you guys haven't seen that budgeting class yet, I did do a side-by-side comparison of the same meals purchased 100% processed, so already out of a box or from the freezer section of the store, versus cooking it all from scratch. And proved to everybody that actually processed meals are actually more expensive than from scratch meals, the same meals. All right, I got 1 more garlic clove I gotta chop. 5 garlic cloves going into here. We're just gonna simmer it with a little bit of butter there. And then we're gonna add our meat. And then we're gonna talk. I'm so glad you guys are all on. That's great news. All right. What do we have to stir with? I might just have to hack something out of the dishwasher. Oh, no, we're in luck. We're in luck. We got a spoon. All right. There we go. So we're just going to saute this for about a minute. You'll be able to see the color on the garlic change. It's kind of like a toasty golden brown. Then you know it's time to add the steak bites. And this is all being cooked over medium heat, okay? So the vegetables in the back, just in case you're wondering, are carrots and potatoes that were baked at 425 degrees for about 25 minutes. And the tops, they were drizzled with coconut oil. And then the tops of the vegetables were sprinkled with garlic powder, paprika, healthy salt. I believe mine was a pink Himalayan salt, so I did. And then, what else? Paprika, salt, and garlic powder. That's it. So super easy, and it's delicious. You can see the side is carrots. That's a lower carb option. Or in my case, I'm healing my cavities and almost done option. All right, so we're just going to add our steak to the pan. There There we go. I'm gonna go wash my hands, guys. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and sprinkle our steak with a little bit of healthy salt. This is pink Himalayan salt. Sprinkle it with a little bit of pepper. And we're gonna give it a stir because the bottoms are starting to turn gray. Yum, it smells so good. Let's see. Next week's cooking class is black bean quesadillas, so that'll be yummy. That's another really good freezer meal. We're already half cooked, guys, if you guys can believe that. Okay, so to the top of this, we're gonna go ahead and add an Italian seasoning. I don't typically have Italian seasoning in my home. I just go ahead and combine basil and oregano, sometimes a little bit of rosemary. We're just gonna sprinkle it. You don't need very much. You don't want to walk away from a cooking situation like this because you can easily overcook your steak, and you want the steak to be nice and soft. So we're just going to cook until it's gray all the way around. Gray or cooked looking. I don't know. It's not really brown. You guys know what I mean. There we go. And then 1 tablespoon of parsley, which I think is way up here. So excuse my reach, guys. There we go. Parsley. All right. We're like 98% done, just like that. That's awesome. Quick little meal. And since I made my vegetables ahead of time, that really helps. It's almost done, guys. Isn't that crazy? All right. I'm actually going to look up the recipe for next week here so we can talk about that. And I will timestamp the ingredients portion of the video again, and I will try and put up a pre-scheduled live link so that you guys can look at all the ingredients that are all typed out for you. Okay, 1 more stir and then we'll do that. This is done. Just like that. Oh, it looks so good. Can you guys see that? Let's bring you guys closer. So yummy. Okay. It's well seasoned. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And we're going to read ingredients for next week and talk about quick meals that are nourishing, if there is such a thing, right? Hang on. Don't fail me now, and be nice. All right. Let's see. We've got black bean quesadillas for next week. So this is, let's see, technically a meat-free meal. We don't do those very often. But, you know, every now and then that's a good thing to do, especially with rising food costs. So it's okay to have a meal without meat every now and then. Okay, so for the black bean quesadillas, we've got 2 cups of salsa. This makes 8 quesadillas, okay? 2.5 cups of shredded cheese, 2 cups of black beans. If you can ferment those ahead of time and cook them, that's the best. You want cooked beans. If you don't have time for that, buy organic canned beans from the store. And 1 jar should be enough, okay? What kind of steak are you using? So, the softest steak is sirloin steak. Everything else just gets chewier from there. So sirloin is the softest. After that comes T-bone steak. After that's just chewy. Okay, so 1 can of beans, 4 teaspoons of taco seasoning. I do have a video on how to make that. Super cheap to make your own. And then some salt. And that's all there is to the black bean quesadillas. And then you're going to have to go ahead and make your quesadillas ahead of time for either sourdough quesadillas or you could do, hi Julie, another Julie. My channel has 3 Julies. This is so cool. Welcome to the channel, the other Julie Carr. Anyway, you have to either make sourdough tortillas or make these sprouted tortillas, and I have both those videos up here on the channel. That's what you'll be using for your wrap for the quesadillas. So that is for next week. Let me get rid of this. Ah, it looks so yummy and it smells so good in here. Okay, so I received an email from one of you. I'm going to timestamp this too. I received an email from one of you guys asking about quick meals, grab and go type meals, that sort of thing. Back in the 60s. I have a friend that's my age that's named Julie as well, so it's still around, it is. So, I don't know if this person wants to remain anonymous or not, so I'm not going to use their name, but I will say that just from your email, you're trying really, really hard, and I think that's admirable. And a lot of times when you're going against the grain, you don't have a lot of support, and I've been there. And unfortunately, it can leave you feeling drained and like you have no support. You don't. I just want you to remember that life is a journey, not a marathon. So you need to remind yourself of that. And even though you found my channel, which I'm so happy you're here and that you're learning so much and you want to incorporate it all with your family, my largest fear for those of you who are coming onto this way of living is that you will try to make too drastic of a change all at once and you will become burned out. This happens with anything in life. It happens with people who want to buy a homestead and get free of the system and want to grow their own food, and they think they're going to do it all in the first year, and it just does not happen. And when burnout happens, they get very discouraged. So my number one thing that I'd like to say to you guys is that if you guys are just now getting onto this, you're trying to switch your family into more nutrient-dense eating, please just take it one step at a time and really realize that every step that you take makes a difference. You don't have to conquer Rome in one day. It's taken me 10 years to get where I'm at. Be patient with yourself. Do the best that you can, but don't kill yourself over it because that's not good for your health either. So as far as grab and eat meals, there's not a whole lot of easy, convenient foods that you could just grab and eat when it comes to eating nutrient dense, because it takes planning and forethought to come up with a lot of these meals, although tonight's was pretty easy. So I guess what I would have to say is if you've got some recipes that call for like cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, something like that, you can totally make those cream of soups ahead of time. It's very simple. I know I have at least one of them up here in the video. I think I have cream of mushroom. But it's very easy. It's just cream, flour, and milk, and some seasoning. And you kind of make a thick sauce with that, and you can put it into bags inside your freezer and freeze those. So if you have a convenient meal that you keep running to that has those processed ingredients in them, go back and watch my video on how to make cream of mushroom soup. And you can take that same video and make cream of chicken by adding chicken and using chicken broth. And if those are your go-to meals, then at least that processed food ingredient is taken out, if that makes sense. The other thing is, this specific person, if you have, a lot of my meals are 13 by 9 meals, okay? So if you were to, if you're only a family of 4, or a family of 3, or even a family of 5, when you make my recipes, it's gonna make a 13 by 9 pan. Technically, you should only be eating half of that. So you would have leftovers. So if you have freezer space, you could line your 13 by 9 pans with your leftovers with a sheet of wax paper, fill the pan up, and then throw it into your freezer, let it freeze overnight, and then take it out the next day by lifting the wax paper out, saran wrapping the crud out of it, at least 2, maybe even 3 layers of saran wrap, putting it back into the freezer so that you have a meal ready to go on those nights when you're tired, you've been working your butt off, or like me, you've been up all night with children, and you're tired and you don't want to cook. That's a great way to make freezer meals. It's a great way to be able to take your meal and freeze it outside of the 13 by 9 pan so you can still have your pans to cook with. And then when you get ready to eat, you take it out of your freezer, take all the wax paper off and the plastic wrap off, slide it right into the 13 by 9 pan that you froze it in, and warm it up, and you've got dinner. Another thing that's awesome is sourdough. So if you know how to make sourdough, sourdough can really fill up a family. If you were to have like bread on hand, you could do quick meals, sandwiches or cheese, grilled cheese sandwiches, that sort of thing. You could do meatballs and do a meatball sandwich, you could do sloppy joes, you could do all sorts of things if you had a little bit of bread on hand, or sourdough dinner rolls. That's a really good option as well. Also, prepared grains fill your family up faster, so they'll eat less, which is a great budget stretcher. And that only takes a few minutes out of every day to properly prepare your grains. The other thing she asked was healthy snacks. So an idea of healthy snacks is, well, for us anyway, we typically consume easy snacks. I think that's the one thing that everybody thinks they have to be glorious snacks. They don't have to be glorious snacks. You're literally giving your kids some food to hold them over until the next meal. It doesn't have to be glorious. So for my kids, we usually eat carrot sticks, and then I make homemade ranch dip, which I do have a video up on the channel about how to make homemade ranch dressing. Another thing we typically eat is apples or other fruit, and orange, that sort of thing. Cheese sticks and raisins is a huge hit around here. I usually buy the huge blocks of cheese from Azure Standard, chop them up into cheese stick sizes, and then we also buy their raisins from Azure Standard, and I just measure out like a 1/4 cup of raisins, and they get a cheese stick, and that's their snack for the day. It doesn't have to be complicated. The other thing I did want to say too is that if you guys haven't watched the video on the class on the budgeting for Whole Foods meals, I picked 7 meals for that whole challenge, and I ran them and I compared them to processed foods, and they were actually cheaper to make from scratch than buying processed foods. So for example, rice-a-roni was cheaper, pizza pockets was cheaper than buying pizza pockets from the frozen food section, okay? So what I did want to say though is that, just for a note, and all these recipes are up here on the channel, they are all on the video on how to make them, and all the ingredients are in the videos. The homemade rice-a-roni, the homemade old-fashioned scalloped potatoes, and the homemade chicken wild rice soup are all 3 of those recipes are under $2 a person per serving. So if you're looking to save money and still make whole foods, those are 3 really good recipes to incorporate into your food plan. I also said in that video about how if you can plan out so you're buying more than 1 week's of groceries at a time, and you can buy more of your ingredients in bulk, you save more money. So usually the price point to make the largest difference is buying a whole month's worth of groceries. I know some of you can't do that, but if you can, even if you stock up on one ingredient that happens to be in several meals, so sour cream or something, and just buy the larger sour cream. Sour cream stays good for a really long time, you guys. And so that's another way to save money. So I guess the short answer is there are no easy, convenient meals. For the people who are eating the convenient meals, they are sacrificing their health, because a lot of those convenient meals that are on the shelf have preservatives in them. And so, yes, they're fast and convenient, but they are not the healthiest choice for your family. So it just takes planning ahead, And if you have a smaller family, like 4 and below, or even if you have a large family like mine, if you can make a whole 13 by 9 pan ahead of time of one meal and freeze some of it so it's ready to go on a night when things are absolutely crazy, that's the best way to go. Oh, there was one other thing. Hang on one second. Let's see if I can find it. Am I going to be able to find it? I don't know. Not going to be able to find it. I don't think my husband has it with him, but anyway, I was hoping to show it to you guys. If you get it on Amazon, Crock-Pot makes like a little mini Crock-Pot. And I know like there are a lot of families out there where the dad doesn't get to eat with the family, or maybe he comes in a little bit later. In our case, that's usually the case, unfortunately. But a lot of times when that happens, they don't want to eat the food because it's cold, or because they have to warm it up, okay? And so Crock-Pot makes a mini Crock-Pot. And so what that does is it doesn't cook the food, but it'll keep it piping hot. So that would be a really good option to put that out on the counter, and as you're dishing everybody else up, put his serving in there, keep it plugged in. When he gets home, it's ready to go. It's hot, it's piping. When we purchased ours, it was like 30 bucks, totally worth the money. Also, we use that when he takes leftovers with him to work, because he can just take leftovers like we're gonna eat the next day, and they're nice and hot, and they're inside that crock pot. I have one more spot to check. Hang on a second. It might be down here. I was hoping to show that to you guys. Should have grabbed it. I don't know where it went. He might even have it with him today. I'm not sure. But anyway, the point is that a lot of times when men get home, they have, or even us women, they have worked all day, and the last thing they want to do is warm up a meal for themselves. The last thing they want to do is cook. They just want a quick, easy meal that they can eat and be done with it. And so that little Crock-Pot, mini Crock-Pot by Crock-Pot brand is the way to go for that situation, because the meal will be ready to go for them. They don't have to worry about warming it up, okay? I don't know where that went. I wish I could show it to you guys. It's just a little miniature Crock-Pot, and it saved our lunches when it comes to my husband. So anyway, it's a great invention. Okay, hang on. Jackie says, when working a lot, I cooked 2 days a week spaced apart. Made 2 soups and maybe 2 casseroles, reducing prep for the week. I also eat some meat and fish raw, still mostly frozen, so those were quick. Yes. So that's another thing to consider, is that you could take your Saturday and do a bunch of meal prep. Whether it's chopping ingredients ahead of time, or making the entire meal and freezing part of it, or all of it for later. Those are all really, really good ideas, just to get you through the week, and you take part of your, maybe it's even Sunday afternoon or Saturday, and you make those meals ahead of time so that it fits into your life. And that was another thing with all of the meals that I selected for that budgeting class. There were several, basically all the recipes on there can be frozen, but there were breakfasts on there as well that were oatmeal that can be frozen, pancakes, you can freeze sourdough pancakes, you can freeze sourdough waffles, all of that stuff can be frozen. So if your mornings are fast and you don't have much time, that can all be frozen and then popped in a toaster or warmed up into the oven for the next day. So I think the struggle is that for this particular person, in my opinion, is number one, you're taking on too much. You need to give yourself credit where credit is due, because you're doing an amazing job. And 2, you got to have a little bit more planning so that you've got a backup meal or a meal in a little miniature crock pot for your husband when he comes home. And so that stress is removed, because it's a hot meal waiting for him whenever he does get home. So that's my answer for you guys. All right, are there any other questions? This is like a super easy class, because this meat's already done. We're good to go. So yeah, next week is black bean quesadillas. And then the following week's super yummy is pineapple barbecue meatballs. These are so good, you guys. So good. It was another meal that I invented and my family fell in love with, and it's here to stay. So that will be 2 weeks out on the 30th. Next week is black bean quesadillas. Okay. I'm going to check the chat one more time. Okay, guys. That's my only advice for the grab-and-go meals. I also have a recipe up on the channel for homemade granola bars, but I don't make those all the time. So I have like a lot of videos up here for snacks, like homemade Cheez-Its and stuff, but don't take that as, hey Judy, don't take that as I make those all the time, because I don't make them all the time. Like I said, usually we reach for fresh, raw stuff for snacks, so your vegetables and your fruits. Every now and then, like maybe once every 2 months, Mommy will make granola bars. And guess what? Those granola bars freeze really good. So you can totally chop them and put them in the freezer, and then magically find them at the bottom of your freezer like I did last week and pull them out and say, look, we're going to have granola bars for snack. So take it easy on yourself. Know that every change you make is beneficial to your family, and it is a step in the right direction. Give yourself credit where credit is due. Take a deep breath, and just have a little bit more insight, a little bit more foresight into what you're going to do. And if possible, make some of those meals ahead of time, or chop things ahead of time. And I think that you will find that your life's a little bit less chaotic, okay? All right. All right, you guys. That's all there is to it. Wow, a 30-minute cooking class. That's like never happened. This is a quick meal. Very, very quick. And like I said, if you pick sirloin or a T-bone steak, those are the softest steaks you can buy. I'm hoping I get to sleep through the night as well. I'm really starting to drag at this point. Today I tried to lay down for a nap, and the child that kept me up last night is feeling much better today, and she was jumping all over me, so that didn't happen. So I'm hoping for a good night's sleep tonight. I'm gonna try my hardest. So anyway, all right, you guys, thanks for jumping on. I will catch you guys next week, hopefully. And if you guys have any questions, or you want to reach out with a topic for next week's discussion, I'll leave my email down below. And you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys next week.